Hello, welcome to Rob's Models. This is Rob, and today actually it's just me narrating some photos of my build of these, which is the limited edition Airfix Club Hawks, the first and last. You got your nice red, white and grey, and then it was a gloss black, and it's a kit limited to Airfix Club. Now of course it's two kits in one, so when you open the box you've got two kits in there. And each of those kits is made up of 4 sprues of the normal grey plastic, and you got a sprue of the clear parts. Good actually moulding on there, quite crisp, not massively overly detailed. Not too sure if it's missing 1 or 2 of the minor panel lines. However, it is all done quite well, and I believe, well I'm not too sure, probably should have checked, but I believe it is actually the same sort of the same kit as if you would get the Red Arrows Starter Sets. Good bit of detailing that would take a wash quite well. So sticking it together, I built them in tandem. To be honest, I could say as I built from one I learnt techniques to use for the second one, but it was so simple there wasn't really much learning in there, but it was a fun little build. A few join lines here and there, but that's what you're going to expect from fast jets. Cockpit is actually quite plain, only one pilot in there and no seat belt, so I did actually scratch build some seat belts just for the rear seat. I'm going to be doing them in flight, so there will be a pilot in there, but as you can see they come together quite nicely. A little bit of paint on the intake, so I had to decide which one was which. I don't think there was any variation of the build for the first and the last. There's the pilots. I am not a great figure painter. These are literally knocked out in 10 minutes. Probably should wait for the paint to dry before doing the next one. You can probably see that the white gloves have actually turned more of a grey colour. But yeah, I think I've got most of the sort of the detail on there. And then what I like to do is just put a panel line wash, smother them in the panel line wash, and when that dries, that highlights some of the other details. Put the canopy on there. Put that on with the PVA glue to avoid fogging, but I did find I did need to use some quite tight elastic bands to keep them on there, just to keep those canopies down. They did want to spring up until that glue had properly dried. Once it had dried, use some MRP paints. Wanted to use MRP paints for this build. So first of all, it's just going to go over the cockpit, so the interior of the cockpits look black from the inside. And then, first time using this, the fine surface primer from MRP. So a bit of that went down nicely, gave a nice smooth finish, although I did find I did want to give it a bit of a polish just to really smooth it a bit more. It wasn't silky smooth, but it was quite a good smooth. And so the first one, that was the white. So I got the white on the back of it, and where there's going to be the white elements. Got the grey on there. Once the grey was on, I've actually already done it by this picture, it was masked up in preparation for the red. I did find when the red, that's the MRP red, so I've been using MRPs all the way through this, it did seem quite orangey. Even got to the point where towards the end I thought it's just going to have to be a bit of an orange colour. Although I must admit, once the rest of the tape come off, and especially once I'd actually got clear coat on there, it's definitely red, but it looked orangey up until that point, an orangey red. A little bit of bleed through here and there, especially where the panel lines are. The black one, the last one, literally was super gloss black, and again put the black on there. I've got to say I didn't find it super glossy. I thought I still actually ended up putting a clear coat on there before putting the decals on. It was smooth. It's probably an in-scale gloss finish, but not the gloss that I was really wanting, a high shine. But you can see now I've got the super clear, the MRP super clear gloss varnish on there. That black is actually starting to pop a bit more. Plenty of decals though. A lot more on the latter one than on the first one. The first one really is the roundels on there, the markings on the tail, and a few warning. You can actually see on the right I've already started to put the roundels on, and there's still a lot more health and safety stickers to go on. And this is how I'm displaying them. You can see I've actually put a panel line wash on there. Now the one with the red, grey and white, I used the Tamiya the Tamiya panel line, the dark brown one, but for the black one I actually made up my own wash using a bit of white spirit, artist white spirit, with a little bit of mixed some white and some black oil paint to make a grey, and then put that on there. So I didn't want it to be too stark that it popped out. I did consider using different colours for the different colours for that first one, but no, I just thought that the brown seemed to work quite well. And you can see, especially on the top of the wings, bottom of the wings, those panels are sort of popping out, but without being too obvious. Sometimes they do stand out a little bit more in the photographs. So put them on the nice display. It's just a bit of a styrene rod in a bit of wood, and what I quite like with it is it actually looks like it's I mean, if you were to follow that back, they're actually they would have merged and come out of one. They've come from the same point, which, as it is the same aircraft, it's I think that's perfectly fair. It's quite a nice little way to display the front and the back of the same aircraft at different times of its life. So I've been Rob, hope you've enjoyed this. Next build is actually going to get back to doing a proper video recording it, but I took photos on this one. I just felt like doing something where I didn't have to explain what I was doing every time. But I hope you've enjoyed this. Make sure you hit the like, I really do appreciate that. Make sure you hit the subscribe, and if you have any comments, I do try to get back to most of them. So I've been Rob, happy modelling, and see you soon.